So as Dick's already mentioned, arrays, matrices, I use them a lot in Matlab. So what are they? They're basically just really a set of numbers. There's vectors and matrices, although they're really all matrices. Vectors are just one column or one row of a vector, or sorry, a matrix. So the way you write them is like any variable, you'll x equals, and you want to use square brackets, then list out your numbers. You can put commas in between here, like say comma, like that, but MATLAB doesn't care if you do or don't. So for my row vector, or sorry, column vector, y equals 1, and then to denote a new column, you want to go semicolon 2, semicolon 3, and there's your column vector. If you want to flip these two for whatever reason, you could say just use this apostrophe here, and they're flipped. I'll give another example out with a matrix C, and it'll be a little easier to understand why it's useful. So when you're writing a matrix C, we'll just make a new one Z. You're going to want to make a row, say the numbers 1 through 6, and end that row to start a second one. 4, 6, and there's your matrix C. And if you want to flip that, you flip basically all the rows and the columns. So this was the first row, it is now the first column. So that can be useful for a variety of reasons. You'll learn more about it as you do more with MATLAB. But now we're writing matrix, and that will be, this is the colon feature. So I'm just going to clear my workspace real quick. And say if instead of listing up the numbers 1 through 3, I didn't want it to write them all out, I can say x equals 1, 2, then 1 colon 3, and that's going to give me the numbers 1 to 3 spaced by 1, like that. And this is a little more useful with bigger numbers. Say if I wanted 1 to 10, just colon 10, and there's your numbers. Also, if you want a different interval instead of 1, the default's 1, but if you want to say 2, you would say 1, this is where it'll start the 1, then 2, that's your interval, and it won't go any higher than that number. So go here, you can see it goes to 9, it won't go to 10 or past 10 because that's your upper bound. So just bear that in mind. But yeah, those are pretty useful. You can also use those to make rows for matrices. You say z equals, say 1 to 10, and the second one you go to 20. That, see, now I've just got all the numbers 1 through 20. There's also features like rand and zeros and ones. I'm just going to show you rand because they work in basically the same way. Let me just clear that. So rand is just 0 and 1 random numbers. So make another variable. Go rand, and then you want your matrix bound, how big you want your matrix. So say 2 by 3 matrix. There's your numbers. And while they only give you 0 to 1, you can manipulate these pretty easily. Say if I want 1 to 10, or between 0 and 10, I just say x times 10. Or I could also just say x equals times 10, and I get the same thing. And you can also do this with adding. Say if you wanted between 2 and 3, just say instead of times 10, say plus 2. And there's your matrix C. And then zeros and ones work in the exact same way. Those are more useful for logic and stuff like that, but I'm not going to show you that unless anyone is confused.